Greetings and welcome family. Thanks for stopping by for another episode of Road Trip JA, the heartbeat of Jamaica's roads. To navigate you through the experience is Dr. A, your excursion extraordinaire and guide. Today we'll be continuing our coverage on some news in 2021 concerning the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. It is said to be one of the biggest undertakings of the government of Jamaica for the year 2020-2021. From being planned to being parked to being replanned, repackaged, and now in progress. Having started and having stopped. Having extortion, threats, bringing hope, bringing tears. This one project has done so much. But today, our focus will be on the government to find US $134 million for South Coast Highway Project. And to top it all off, as is customary, Jamaican Highway Improvement Project hit by cost overrun. If this is something you'd like to have more clarity on, have another perspective, then stick around. We'll be right back. Thanks for choosing to stay for the experience. Now that we are all here, if you are not yet subscribed to the Road Trip JA channel, please feel free to do so and ensure you turn your notification on to all so you will be notified on every occasion of a release without exception. If our conversation added any value or even a new perspective, please indicate by turning the like button below. To have conversations with us, you can do so in the VIP section of the comments, and don't forget to share so others can be a part of the family. For added information and reference material, visit the description below. It is that time again. It is time to get active. In our article sequential flow, we're now at article number 28. To review our catalog of news, reviews, commentaries of articles published, please click the link in the suggested video. Now, this article comes to us from Best FM, dated May 6, 2021. Caption: Government to find US $137 million more for South Coast Highway Project. The article went on to explain that the government has been forced to cough up an additional US $133.9 million to cover the increased scope of the work on the ongoing Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. The highway, covering 3 trenches and 15 packages, is to run from Harborview in St. Andrew to Port Antonio, Portland. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Everett Warmington, made the announcement of increased costs on Wednesday during his contribution to the 2020-2021 to 2022 sectoral presentation in the House of Representatives. Warmington explained that under the contracting process, the main contractor, China Harbor Engineering Company, CHEC, would have invited tender for the work from qualified local contractors. He said awards were made on a competitive basis, with the lowest bid being accepted in each case. However, Warmington disclosed that an analysis of the bid showed that they all exceeded the engineering estimates, which would have been tied to the original sum in the agreement between the Jamaica government and Exim Bank. What this therefore means is that we will have to find additional funds to cover the cost of the higher tender sum, the minister said. In noting that the integrated strategy behind the project means that water, sewage, telecom, and other relevant infrastructure are being put in at the same time, Warmington said this too will come at an additional cost to the program, but will be of super benefit. The increased amount will see an additional $60.8 million being spent in regards to fund all 15 packages. The expansion and renewal of the National Water Commission NWC system includes SOAR in selected areas will require an additional 64 million, while engineering consultancy and project management services until 2022 is to see an additional 8.7 million spent. Warmington told the House, in light of the deleterious impact of the pandemic on the government revenue, a recommendation has been made for the costs for engineering, consultancy, and project management service to be financed in its entirety by the government, so the funds earmarked in the main contract will remain available for construction expenditure, which should prevent any need for additional budgetary support until 2022-2023 financial year. So if we examine this article in a little more detail, we will realize that there was a situation in which the government experts did an evaluation of the work that should be done, and they fell so short of the estimate that even choosing the lowest bid, they were still under by millions of US dollars. This goes to give us an indication that the hypothesis that the persons who sold their lands to the government sold their lands at a retroactive value and not the actual or the future value based on these presentations. Based on this article, we are reminded that the main contractor is China Harbour Engineering Company, and they have subcontracted, which means that they are the main contractor. They have selected contractors locally who can complete the additional areas of the work based on the agreement with the government, and those subcontractors placed a bid on the project. However, the bid that was selected, I want everyone to hear this, the bid that was selected was a bid that cost the least. Now we have an understanding why persons who do homework or persons who does work with a particular bid and is unable to complete the work still is allowed to get another job because they're underbidding, not because the work can be completed with the sum that they bid. They're underbidding so that they can actually get the contract in order to fund their business expenditures. And what they do when they have received that contract, they try to do as much of the work as is possible. But before they knew or they have a knowledge or even a suspicion that based on the tight margins that they have, any changes in price fluctuation will derail the completion of the work at the quality expected. Sometimes cheapest or lowest is not always best. We're not saying that those who bid lowest are subpar to those who bid higher. We are just saying the awarding of contracts cannot be solely based on who tenders the lowest bid. Because if I have someone in government, I can hear what all the bid prices are and just bid a cent or two lower, and then my bid would be seen as a favorable bid because of money, not because of infrastructure assessment, not because of quality, not because of prior record, because the government does not really care about all of that when you come to the bidding table. And each time you go to the bidding table, it's a different set of people that you deal with. A good point to note is that there will be an integration of water, sewage, telecom, and other relevant infrastructure at the same time as the work is being done on the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. This gesture is quite welcome because what we have seen in the past is that after the road would have been built, 2-3 months later or a year later, National Water Commission would come to run pipelines. JPS would come to put up new poles and infringe and impair the integrity of the road structure that was already laid. So when we can avoid these situations, it is most ideal for everyone. My greatest admonition to the government is to ensure that they have relevant infrastructure in place to facilitate autonomous driving, because as we are projecting into the future now, by 2030, we should have vehicles which are self-driven even to a particular degree on the road. And I think that the road network has to be computerized in order to facilitate the total autonomous driving technology. So I hope that provisions have been made for that. So as we look at the overrun and the underestimate of the work that was supposed to be done, the increased amount sees an additional 60.8 million being spent in this regards to fund the subcontracted work, and the 60.8 million is US dollars. We are seeing where the National Water Commission system, including the sewers in selected areas, will require an additional 64.34 million. So I am assuming that the Water Commission is getting 64.36 million, and the additional packages which were on the bid should get also 60.8 million. If we add 64.36 million to 60.8 million, then we end up with 125.16 million. And the article says that the government will find 134 million more, which means that something is missing. So we are going to have to look for the 8.84 million. Let's see if we can find it. And we are finding it. It says, while engineering, consultancy, and project management services until 2022 is to see an additional 8.7 million being spent. So if 8.7 million is being spent, I am assuming that there was some rounding which caused the values not to equate to the 134 million. So we are seeing that just to consult, just the engineering consultancy and to manage the project cost an additional 8.7 million US dollars. I hope you understand what is happening here. Just to consult and to manage the project costs an additional $8.7 million, not to do the project, just to offer your opinion on the project, providing that you have the level of expertise and you have the right connections. You could have been a beneficiary of that $8.7 million. And we're seeing that provisions are being made for the 2022-2023 budget for this project, which should be ending in March 2022. However, we know that there's a high probability this will prolong into 2023. That is just our projection. We could be off by a bit, but let us see what the government has in store for us. Confirming this article, published May 10th, 2021, Being America's Jamaica Highway Improvement Project hits a cost overrun. This article is just confirming what has happened in the previous article. It says the Jamaican Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, SCIP, will cost an additional 134 million according to the Minister without Portfolio Everett Warmington. The project started in 2019 with an initial cost of 384 million, but increase in construction and sewage system costs have put it over budget. What this therefore means is that we will have to find additional funds to cover the cost of the high tendered sum. The project is being overseen by main contractor China Harbour Engineering, and the original loan was agreed between Jamaica government and the China Exim Bank. Warmington warns that more costs are foreseen. What? More costs are foreseen as the government use an integrated utility relocation system, improving water, sewage, and telecoms and other relevant infrastructure. This will cost more but minimize disruption to customers of those utility light poles and pipelines will be moved with ducts installation to allow for broadband improvement. Jamaica National Work Agency anticipates spending 4.7 billion US on road maintenance and repair, disaster mitigation, bridge development, and construction under the program. The project capital budget is being estimated at 17.4 billion, sufficient to cover the current cost of SCIP. This is amazing. So even though we have hit a cost overrun at this time of an additional 134 million, we are still to be anticipating additional cost runs. Welcome to the Jamaican experience and government expenditure. This is what happened when we don't have accurate estimates. This is what happened when we use retroactive pricing instead of the current pricing or the future projected pricing. This is what happens when we don't consult independent entities. This cost overrun didn't need to happen had we had the right infrastructure laid in place. But how will this cost run be paid for? I can assure you, the citizens of the country, those who may consider themselves beneficiary of the highway improvement project, will be those communities footing the bill along with the wider population of Jamaica under the guise of the government of Jamaica. This is where we have to put a pause on our news recap and review of the development concerning the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. The saga will continue, and there are more revelations and changes that are to come that you may not have known occurred. However, here at Road Trip JA, the heartbeat of Jamaica's roads, it is our duty to keep you in the know. Until next time, when we will continue the discovery of information concerning the publications of 2021 articles in relation to the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project SCIP, with intention to move forward in the process of prediction for the future. You don't want to miss this. If you have any questions, comments, or concern, please leave them in the VIP section and we will get back to you. Please feel free to use our email handle roadtripja.jm@gmail.com. But for now, walk, drive, and fly good. This is Dr. A, your excursion extraordinaire, signing out from Road Trip JA. Peace, love, respect,